Good evening, welcome to Rehab Talk Radio. I'm your host, Kovaj. I'm hanging out with my good friend here, Cody. Cody, how's it going, man? Cody is a. Before I let you answer, I'm sorry, I just cut you straight off. Cody is senior, just became senior, and it has a good part in the house. He's part of a couple different crews. He's definitely got the younger crowd in mind here. He's got sights set and lines locked. I definitely imagine he'll be somebody in the future of this house that has a good repertoire. So, Cody, no further ado, how are you today, man?
Thank you. I'm good. Yeah, my name is Cody. I'm in recovery. I've been clean since October of 2022.
Good, man. Righteous.
Yes.
So three and a half months roughly you've been clean.
Yes.
Clean and sober.
Yes.
Masked your DOC. Is that
It's heroin, but it was recently fentanyl.
fentanyl?
Fentanyl.
Now, to my understanding, that's two they're on the same wavelength, but they're like two separate lines.
Yeah, I did heroin for like off and on for like 10 years, pretty much all of my 20s. And over the last, I moved out here in 2021, and I had a heroin habit, and heroin kind of dried up, and it was all fentanyl. So I kind of started just doing fentanyl, and it's a whole different game. It's I like to call it the crack of opiates because it gets you really high and then you come down. So it's like you're chasing that high.
Chasing the
Constantly.
dragon.
Yes, constantly, and it's way stronger than heroin. It's and like I said, it wears off, so you're spending a lot more money. You're finding that, you know what I mean. It's a whole different game.
Is it?
As compared to heroin.
Before we jump further into that, which I know I've got about a billion questions on this
Yes.
thing because I never just tired of trying to learn about this whole phenomena. Yeah, as far as the house goes, you're a part of the maintenance committee.
Yes.
You're a part of we won't say the other two words, but reps,
Yes.
and you're very serious into it.
Yes.
Which another member of the house that I interviewed, Geronimo, is also.
Yes.
You and him are very tight in that. So
Yes,
just to
that's
kind
my
of
boy.
just to link everybody together.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, how has that been for you? How is overall, I would say, how would your experience overall have been with those two things here?
I knew that when I was thinking about it and talking about getting clean and actually staying clean, you know, because I've had like stints of being clean, but I wasn't actually like working the program. I wasn't finding something else because, you know, I am an addict and I have to find something else that I like to do. And you know, I've always worked out. When I was in prison, I got pretty big, and I knew once I got here and I found out about that, I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna, you know, get into, like is getting stronger, getting healthier. So it's a big part, and you know, in the beginning it was kind of like I had to push myself to do it, but now it's like I want to do it, but I feel like, you know, I have to do it, and I've been a part of this, and like I like to bring new people in, and plus, you know, like now it's gotten to the point where it's like if Gerardo goes, if Geronimo goes, I'm going with him, you know what I mean? And we became a team. We started. We meshed together. You know what I mean? And it makes it easier because we both have, you know, the same goal, and we both want to stay clean. So it's very important to me.
So it's worked out, and you had your sights set on it when you came to this house. You knew that you were going to do something in fitness.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I'm not really like into like I want to get bigger. I want to get stronger. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna like count calories. I'm not gonna. Well, I guess I am kind of actually becoming a gym shark. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm. It's just more to feel good about myself because I know that if I don't, I start to feel. It gives me that dopamine rush that I like. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's healthy for you. It gives you that rush. I mean, it changes your life. I mean, your eating habits.
Yeah.
I was into fitness for about 4 months, and the Kit Kat's got the best of me.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I work out and shit, but then after I eat a lot of ice cream and I eat whatever I want. I probably eat more now. You know what I mean?
Well, I would say it's done well for you. I mean, you still got the build and everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you can have best of both worlds, who am I to say?
Take advantage, right?
Oh, right. So let's wind the clocks back to the beginning here. You had mentioned heroin to fentanyl.
Yes.
So do they interlink together, or are they two separate stories on that one? Where will we start at the beginning?
I started doing I smoked weed and shit when I was like, 14, 15, and then when I was about 16, I got into coke, and I started doing cocaine, and then ecstasy, and then I started selling them, and then I started to meet new people, because you get into a different world, and heroin was like, that's when like the epidemic that, you know, that's going on kind of was starting, like 2012, 11, 13, like somewhere around then. Where I was at, it definitely it flooded the city. People that you didn't think by looking at them were doing heroin was doing heroin, and everyone. I mean, I never shot it. I did once or twice, but like, I wasn't my thing. I smoked it and snorted it for a very long time. But like, everyone that I knew, like that I went to high school with, that I knew was doing heroin. Like, everyone. It went like very quickly, and it was like everyone was snorting it, smoking it, and then everyone was shooting it, and it was like this normal world of friends in my early 20s that I was in, and everyone was doing heroin. Like, we were going to different cities to sell it, to get it, meeting new people. It just brought it was like a whole world of people doing, all of a sudden, it was just, that was the drug to do. No more coke, ecstasy, mushrooms, acid, none of that stuff that I did when I was a kid. We didn't do, it was just heroin. And then it started to be like meth, and then I was selling heroin, I was selling meth. I was able to weirdly maintain it for like a few years, like I had my daughter, and I was living with my baby mom. She never used or nothing, but like, I smoked it, I had a job, I did, pretty much normal shit. I was living two lives, because I had my friends that I would go do that kind of stuff with, and then I would like come home and be dad. But yeah, I was thrown out, I for sure was, but I held it together for a while. I ended up going to prison when I was like 26 or 27. I went to jail for about a year, and then I ended up going to prison for about a year. I got clean. Yes.
Before we jump into that, let's go back to now. You said that you got into it when you were around 13 or 14.
Weed, alcohol.
Weed and
14,
everything. When it all
15.
started.
Yeah.
I mean, mask what kind of neighborhood you came from, or did you come from
Middle
here?
class, suburban.
Was this here in Reno, Nevada?
No, it was Concord, California.
Okay, so you're
next to the Bay Area, in the Bay Area, but like next to Oakland, San Francisco.
Gotcha. And I lived in the Tenderloin in San Francisco for a stint, so I know it a little bit, just not the Concord area. It's a little bit up here, and I was down here. You had that going to school, parents.
Well, my mom and my dad worked together. I lived with my mom and my stepdad.
Okay, so it was mom and stepdad, and you just kind of like, I'm still having trouble grasping that meth and everything was just out of the picture. I came from a different era, so meth was the huge thing, and then for it to revert to this heroin thing,
Yeah.
like, I mean, you had to. I'm sure you've seen the change.
Yes.
Like, it was definitely your era to see that change go down. And was there a specific reason you can think of why maybe it would?
I mean, I think it was because of the thing with the OxyContin. The drug company started pushing Oxy, and then a lot of my friends were doing. I never really got into OxyContin like that, but a lot of my friends did, and the people that I knew would do it. I've tried it a couple times, but then when that ran out, it just quickly became heroin. Like, I was in Concord, and everything that we would get and be around was like Oakland, San Francisco. That's where we were going, like the big cities. And people that I knew, and me and my friends, were bringing it into like the smaller suburban, normal, like Warren Creek, Concord, Antioch, Pleasant Hill, areas like that.
Most of these are ritzy areas, like Walnut Creek. Well, definitely not lower class ghetto neighborhoods.
No.
So we go from there. You mentioned that you had a child.
Yeah.
And that you had a girl.
Yes.
And now, this girl, did she know, I mean, when you two met, were you doing it at that time?
Yes, but it was very hidden, because it hadn't gotten bad yet. So it was like, I was drinking, doing coke, partying, going to parties, college parties, friend parties, shit like that, and I was snorting coke, and then it was snorting coke and a little bit of heroin, and then partying, and then it became no more coke, just the heroin.
Just the heroin.
Just like that, yeah, just that quick, and it was hidden for a good couple of years, honestly.
Wow, you were able to hide it for that long.
Yeah. She had probably an idea something was going on, but didn't really know. She didn't know anything about that. I mean, was foreign to, you know what I mean? Like the environment, the people. Like, I know he's, partying a little bit, maybe taking some pills or doing a little coke and drinking, but heroin is like what? You know what I mean? Like definitely back then it was like not normal.
Would it be safe to say that you were an addict this whole time? The whole time
Yeah.
that you were with her?
Yes, yes.
And wow, it blows my mind that it was able to be hidden so well.
Yeah, for the first couple of years.
Okay, and then she finds out and she wants to work with you on it. She still wants to be with you.
Yes.
And some time passes. You guys have a kiddo together. I'm gonna assume the relationship ends.
No, we were together up till about 8 months ago.
Oh, okay, so this is fairly recent. I
Yeah.
won't pry into that, but I'm hoping that you still have some type of contact.
Yes, no, I see my daughter all the time.
Oh.
Everything's good. It's just, I've put her through a lot. I was a drug addict for 10 years.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. I've been
And the last
looking
couple,
myself, so
yeah, the last couple were the worst. The last two, and that's when the fentanyl came in, and that's when it got the worst.
So we're at the point now. We've been doing heroin long enough. We're heading on into new territory. Where does the fentanyl come into play? That's why I asked you before the interview. I was very curious.
All the people that do sell or around heroin, heroin, all of a sudden it was like heroin was slowly going away and fentanyl was slowly coming into the picture. Like I've got heroin, I've got fentanyl. You want to try this? And then it was, I just have fentanyl. Heroin was not. No one was doing that anymore.
I'll say they straight snatched the market out from under you.
Yes. And honestly, it was better. I mean, if you like the high from heroin, that euphoric or the nod or whatever it is that you get from it, I mean, fentanyl is just 10 times more powerful. I mean, probably more than that.
So you go from nodding off into your chair to flat hitting the floor.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so was that snorted, injected,
Smoked.
insufflated? Okay. Freebase.
You would smoke it off of foil.
Okay.
I just smoke heroin off of foil, but yeah, and like I was saying, when I went to I got out of prison, I was healthy, I was clean. The plan was to, I was in California, I was in Fairfield.
I'm gonna assume that you went to prison over drugs.
No, actually, someone tried to break in my house and I shot at them.
Oh.
Yes, and they tried to break in. I chased him. I couldn't catch him, and then the next day, or no, 2 days later, maybe I seen him and I shot at him and I missed. Obviously, good thing, thank God. But they got me on the cameras of the streets, the sky view cameras, and then my apartment cameras. Pretty much me parking, running up,
Holy shit! Yeah. Stay out of my house, blam.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Well, me and my girls, we all lived together, and yeah, I was messing with the wrong people, around the wrong people,
and they were obviously messing with the wrong guy.
The two lives slowly bleed into each other after so long. You know what I mean? And yeah, I fucked up. But the next day they came raided my house, took my guns, took me to jail, and I sat in county for a year fighting it, and then I ended up getting, which is not bad, but discharge of a firearm and felon with a firearm, and getting 4 years, but halftime because it's California. So I went to Tracy, which I guess is gone now, but Tracy DVI, it's a prison in California. And I got out in 2020, and I was like 1 year of parole. I was gonna move out here, because my dad lived out here. I had family, my aunts, cousins, different people, and I was like, I just gotta get out of California, to get clean, to get right, to move them somewhere better. And I did it. I moved. I saved up. We moved out here in June 21, and I still had a little bit of a habit. And started going around the old place. I lived out here in 2015 and 14 for a little bit too, and I started going to the old places where I used to, go and met people, and ended up, trying, doing a little bit of heroin, and then it turned into fentanyl, and within a year, man, I lost. We had a family car, but I had my own car, our own place. It's a nice area. We're doing really well for ourselves, and it just fell apart. But honestly, it was because I got addicted to fentanyl. Everything kind of just slowly, one by one, you know what I mean? Lose the job, got to sell the car, can't pay the rent, and I'm lucky I had family that was, somewhat supportive, but they were like, man, you got to get clean, this shit's going to kill you, and thank God, here I am. You know what I mean?
How was your health health-wise, how were you
Oh, I
feeling?
was 60 pounds lighter than I am now.
Can't picture it.
I
Can't
have
picture
pictures. I have pictures.
it.
I do.
I would love to see those pictures. That would be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem like very healthy.
Yeah.
You seem very strong. You seem like you could probably bench more than I can. That's for damn sure. You seem like you eat well. I would imagine at that point. Like, how much do you weigh now? If you don't mind me asking.
190.
190. So we're talking like one in the high 130s.
When I came here, I was 142. So yeah, 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Heavier.
And you still weren't actually scrawny then. You still had a little bit of stock to you. So you.
I felt I was broken, man. I really was. Like, I really had been like, I'm losing. What else can I lose? What else, you know what I mean? I might as well give this shit a complete, real shot at changing my life. You know what I mean? Before, how much worse can it get, death? You know what I mean? Or it could always be worse, but it was to that point where I was like, I can't keep doing it. For once in my life, I was like, this is it came to an end. You know what I mean?
So may I ask what that is like when? Because I know that there are people like me that are curious, and there's people like that are at their lowest, and they forget. So I think this would be a great reminder, maybe a great educational for me to find out what it's like when you're just, I guess, dried out from it, when you're completely just sucked up from it, when it completely dows you.
I mean, you don't care about yourself, so you kind of, you still care about some of the people around you, yeah, but not the way you fully would when you're fully normal yourself, you know what I mean? Like, you try to hold everything together for other people, you know, like my daughter, big mom, my mom, you know what I mean? Like, trying to be like, it's okay, but really deep down, man, it's just like, fuck, man, like, I don't know how much, like, you just kind of feel, honestly, like, you don't really want to live anymore, you know what I mean? Like, really, like, wouldn't mind if you didn't wake up when you went to sleep, you know what I mean? It's not a good, I know when I was doing, heroin, that shit's bad, and like I was like, well, I'm not shooting it, and yeah, it's bad, it is, but yeah, I never really felt like I always had that feeling like it'll be okay, I'm gonna get better, I'm just at this point where, you know what I mean, I'm going through this shit, it's gonna get better, but when I started doing fentanyl, it was like, fuck this, man, like, it does something to you, and it makes you really, I believe that it can take your soul. I honestly do believe that it can take who you are as a person, change you for the worst. And if someone doesn't, if you don't have enough courage or whatever it is inside of you to be like, I gotta stop doing this. Like I've lost a lot of friends to it. I lost my stepbrother last year to it. I've lost the friends that I grew up with. They all passed away from fentanyl overdose. There's 3 people that I grew up with that, they were smoking it, and it just, heart problems or. I had one friend, he died in San Francisco. Like he was out there, man. He changed. He was this normal, good, honest, funny guy, and it turned him into a junkie on the streets of San Francisco. And he ended up, I even went out there looking for him, and then I was in prison and I got the news that they found him basically. He'd been there probably for a couple weeks, just on the street in San Francisco, just that shit killed him. And it's a trip because it's like, I have pictures and I look back to like, it really changed him, who he was, morals, the way he looked, of course, but the morals and what made him him, he was not the same person that I knew. You know what I mean? Like.
So you're saying it kind of took his personality who he
and
was
soul.
inside.
It did, and I could feel it starting to do it to me. Luckily, I had the right people around me to check me at times, but if I didn't, who knows what would have happened,
I've interviewed a couple people, and they've never really gone into depth like that of what it really takes from you. And I've never heard about it, like it almost stealing or diminishing or destroying your personality. Is there a name for that? But
I don't know. I just compare it to like, videos and stuff that I've watched about like crack in the 80s and stuff, how it just like hit and no one really knew what to do. I feel like that's what's happening right now with this shit. Like, so I know a handful of people personally that shit has killed or affected, or you know what I mean, or people are still going through it, or it's out there and they're putting it in meth, it's in other drugs, cocaine, kids. There's a wall. I watched the stuff on the news of all the kids that have died from fentanyl overdoses. The new little, they're Oxycontins, but they look like Oxycontin 30s, but they're fentanyl pills. And these kids that don't know anything about these things. They're being pushed out, and they're just taking them thinking they're oxycontins, and they're full of fentanyl, and they die. Luckily, I've had a tolerance. You know what I mean? I've went a few months without using, gotten high, and it's put me on my base, but it hasn't. Luckily I haven't overdosed or anything. But the shit it's a trip, because it really, like, the way I look at it is just like it's a sicker epidemic than the heroin thing. I feel like that shit really is just killing people. It's fucking breaking apart families. Like it really did something to me where I really hate this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate that people don't educate themselves, get strung out on it, and kind of lose themselves or. I know a lot of good people that are on it. I don't talk to them anymore. Know that.
Definitely a part of why I came up with this podcast is to definitely educate people.
Yeah.
To let them know that there is something going on, that there is help, there is a way.
Yeah.
And I understand you've lost a lot.
Yes, from that.
And so you sought help.
Yes. I was kind of pushed, but the people that pushed me knew that I just needed help, man. I mean, I needed, like, I was this close, like, I was trying to, like, I had the thing set in my mind where I wanted to go get clean, but I just didn't really know how, and trying to, like, get myself in, and I kind of was pushed into this, but fuck, I'm glad that it happened. I am. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of different things that happened, but, it was, like, cause I've gotten really bad on this stuff, and then kind of been like, I gotta take a couple days off, and then I get a little better, and then, you know what I mean? I'm never really fully 100%, but at least if, like, 30%, I get back up to 60, and I'd say I was about at 60% when I got pushed into the detox and actually kicked the stuff. And then once I actually fully got off of it, I was like, all right, it's now I have to get into a place and get clean, or I'm gonna keep doing what I was doing. Like I can't do it on my own.
Let me ask, who was it that helped you find it? Was it a friend? Was it a family member, ex-girlfriend? The great-grandma call?
Okay, I got 2 DUIs in 2022, which means I have 4, but they were drug DUIs from fentanyl. I fell asleep at the wheel twice, once in January, once in August, and I got put on a probation, and my PO, she's an awesome lady. She isn't like the normal POs or parole officers that I've had. She's very recovery based, and seeing that I was like really struggling,
She cared.
I told her, she cared. I told her, like, I want to, I can't. You know what I mean? And she was like, I'm going to give you a little bit of stricter rules, and I'm going to force you into a detox. And when you get out of that detox, I'm going to force you into somewhere that you can be, and get clean, and get right, and I'm going to help you along the way, basically. And she still is. Like, she's a really good friend. She's not, I wouldn't even like we don't talk like PO, she's like a friend. You know what I mean? Like she's my friend. She helps me. We talk.
A
she's
very
definitely
positive support system.
Very, and she's put a lot of positive people in my life.
That's wonderful. I wish that everybody could say that their PO was like that.
She's amazing, man, and it's a trip because I've been in trouble my whole life, and at first I was like, I don't know if I can trust this. You know what I mean? But I was like, I'm just gonna give it a chance, and I tell her all the time, like, thank you. You're awesome. You've done so much for me. Like, you know what I mean? And she's like, you're doing all the work, and I'm like, yeah, I know, yeah, thanks, but like seriously, like you my life is changed. I mean, over just the last 3-4 months. You know what I mean? And like, it took me to get in this position where I, the alternative is jail or more problems to keep me on the right track. So once I start getting on the right track, I just ran with it, man.
Well, I'm glad you do, and the house definitely enjoys having you. What was it? I gotta ask, what was your impression of the house when you first got here?
I was
the House of Hab.
I was very closed off to myself, and I treated it like I was in jail, basically. 'Cause that's all that's over. Any place I've been with a bunch of guys, it's been jail or prison. And my first is like standoffish and quiet and to myself, and I don't trust these people. And I started meeting a couple people, getting a little more comfortable. I know how it is. I see people come in now, and I try to be as cool as I can to them. You know what I mean? Because it helps having someone be like, look, man, I'm doing this. I'm clean. I'm just like you.
Here at the House of Hab, we got a little bit of a tradition that everybody here knows about, is that when there's somebody new at the house, you always say, welcome home, give them a fist bump, let them know they're welcome. I know it was done for me. I know it was done for you, and we just kind of pass that on, that positive, good energy to say, hey, welcome home, brother.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, and it's I think it's one of our probably our most cherished tradition out of all of them, because
Yes.
that's the most important day, is the day at the beginning of the rest of your life potentially. So
Yeah, I at first when I got here, I wasn't um yet fully, I was on the fence about the whole thing. You know what I mean? But the people, I gave it a chance, and it was the people. It really was like some people that were kind, and I seen them like these guys are actually changing their lives, and I can see it. They're doing this, they're getting jobs, cars, they're doing this, they're doing that, like you. You know what I mean? I've seen it, and I'm like, it's working. You know what I'm saying? It works, and being an addict, I want it right here, right now. You know what I mean? And learning patience and taking my time, and this place is helping me do that. You know what I mean? It's very supportive, good place if you really want to change and to do something different.
so we've got you to the point where that you've gotten into it.
Yes.
You've seen you've seen literally a drug revolution and been a part of that drug revolution, going from weed to heroin to ecstasy to fentanyl, with something that's got to be laced in there somewhere. Managing to get the strength up to say, I'm getting out of this. I don't give a damn what it takes. Your PO giving you a little bit of nudge, and you're saying, okay, let's try it out.
Yes.
And here you are at the house, and you're doing great. You're excelling. You're progressing. You are doing the best you can with what you got, which we're all trying to do in here. And I've seen you really do well in the program. You've definitely stepped up in your portion of it. You haven't been a negative. You haven't been toxic. You haven't been any of those things that we've seen 1,000 times at the house. So I know you've got plans for the future. We all do. And very curious to what your plans for the future are. Near future, far future, 100 years from now, tomorrow, it don't matter. Where you see the goalpost and what that is.
Well, for now, it's the biggest thing is, of course, being there, like, because I'm not with my daughter's mom anymore. We still all see each other, but it's being there, being there with my daughter, having a good relationship with her, but also I'm going to have something like temporary work for now, and then I have to get a career or a job in some kind of recovery based thing, and I know that for myself, or I won't make it. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? If I get a job that I've had before, whether that's construction, serving, I cut down trees, painting, whatever it is. If I don't ground myself in somewhere like this, like I want to be a peer recovery support specialist, because I think that I've done 10 plus years of living that kind of life, and I think that I can help the new people that come in. I mean, I'm still early in this, but with time, I am committing fully to this. So for the future, that is what I want to do. The other stuff, I'll get a car again, I'll get my own place, all those things, but that's something I think I want to do that won't be work. I like it. Like, these are my people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
And it is what it is. Like, no matter what you do, what you like to put in your body, we're all the same. I believe. Different,
So.
but the same.
Absolutely. So your future is definitely wanting to work in peer support.
Yes.
It's amazing. I come across people that I interview, and a lot of them, strangely, they have this all kinship together.
Yes.
That definitely stems to from separate roots from our mistakes and everything, but all grows into the same trunk of wanting to help others, wanting to empathize and plant another seed and watch that thing grow. It's amazing how many people here do that, and I think that's just incredible.
I needed it. I think everyone needs it that's coming into this that's not really sure. You need someone that you can relate to that's also understands, and I just think I would do well in it. I think that, and it's important to me, and I'm doing little things. The new people that come in, I always tell them, like, I need someone to talk to, you need some food, you need this, you need that. You know what I mean? This is where I'm at. And I don't really know these people, but I know that they're on drugs or alcohol, and they want to do something different, and I respect that, and I want to help. I do. Even though it's small right now, I will be able to, achieve more clean time, get more experience in this, and I think I'll do really well. And it's something that, doesn't feel like work.
Absolutely. It's always important to have dreams and goals, which is two things that you do have. Now, in closing, I'd like to ask that you know what to do for people that want help. You know, what would, if you had to give like this final thought into somebody that's still struggling with addiction? They don't know what to do. They're in that horrible position and they are looking for help and they come across your voice somewhere in cyberspace. What advice would you have?
Hold on and try something different that's uncomfortable, because all of this is still very uncomfortable. It's new, it's getting more comfortable, but you know, that first step is the hardest, but you gotta just do it, whether it's asking for help, whether it's reaching out, or at least trying to plant some roots in something different, whether it's going to meetings or trying to get into a sober environment. It's very uncomfortable and it's very different, and I didn't like it. I don't think anyone likes uncomfortable, but you have to do something uncomfortable and different, and you know, just it can get better. No matter how bad it gets, it will slowly get better, and you will start to like yourself again, love yourself. You know, because I didn't love myself when I was using. I thought I did. I thought I was killing it. I wasn't killing it. I thought I did, but yeah, do something
No.
do something that is uncomfortable by reaching out or saying, hey, I can't do this. I need help. I need help, and accept it, and do it someone else's way, because your way is not working.
That was very well said, my man. Very well said. Cody, I thank you very much for being on the show, man. It's an absolute pleasure to interview you. You're a great, positive person, a good role model for the house. Guys, that's about all the time we got for tonight. That was my guest, Cody, and this is Chris from Rehab Talk Radio saying less is more. Stay pure, stay poor.